As an EV content creator, I've been receiving comments in relation to the upcoming administration change in basically one of two areas. One group are saying that because the Trump administration is going to be taking over, there's going to basically be just a complete end of this whole EV nonsense. And we're going to have to go figure out something else to talk about because EVs are just going to stop being a part of the culture, and people are not going to buy EVs anymore. Secondly, there's people who are EV enthusiasts and EV curious who are concerned that the upcoming administration will dampen adoption and make EV ownership less attractive. So those are the two areas, and they're somewhat connected. And let me get into what I believe is an objective assessment of what to expect in 2025, looking at the data points. First off, Brown Consulting says in 2025, 1.8 million electric vehicles will be sold, which is an overall increase rather significantly from this year. This year, I think we passed 1.25 million so far, and we'll probably end up, I don't know, somewhere around 1.4 million electric vehicles sold when all is over and done with in the United States for 2024. So Brown's saying it's still going to be increasing. And you might think, well, how is that possible? How could they possibly say, with the electric vehicle subsidies getting removed in all likelihood, that there's going to be more EVs sold in 2025 than in 2024? And if you look at what's happened as a result of the election, we've had the consumers kind of become campy concerning electric vehicles. You have Republicans saying Tesla is the right electric vehicle to purchase, and you have Democrats saying non-Teslas are the right electric vehicles to purchase. And there's tension there, but they're both purchasing electric vehicles. And so because of that, there's a lot of press concerning electric vehicles. The thought is that it's just going to continue to snowball, and people are going to continue to purchase electric vehicles in order to make a political statement. I'm getting a non-Tesla EV, and other people are saying, I'm getting a Tesla EV, and everyone's buying EVs. So I'm not sure if that's the basis of their thought, but they are likely drawing from very rational, methodical, well-developed statistical sources in order to make the claim. Brown Consulting tends to be pretty accurate with their results. They're not an EV-centric organization, and that was reported via Autoline Daily. I believe it was on Monday of this week. Secondly, we've got a data point to look at. In a similar circumstance in contemporary society, Germany had their subsidies removed for electric vehicles, and electric vehicle sales decreased by 12.9%. Now, there is some differences between German consumer purchasing behavior and Americans. Americans tend to be a little bit more impulsive because we're a more wealthy country. So I don't think it's going to be the same as Germany. I'm not sure if I'm on board with 1.8 million, but I suppose that's not out of the realm of possibilities. My personal opinion is likely, if we do 1.4 this year, you remove the subsidies and the adoption curve being what it is, I'd say we'd probably end up, right around 1.4, 1.6. But the complete cessation of electric vehicle sales is just not in the cards. It's not reality. Even when Germany removed their subsidies, they were still selling electric cars. They were just selling them in fewer numbers. Not 50% drop, not 25% drop. It was 12.9% drop. So it was noticeable. It was a little bit of a different circumstance there, but at least it's a data point to draw on. I'd say worst case scenario, the United States has a Germany-like event where electric vehicle sales dip somewhere between 10 and 20%. That's the absolute worst case scenario. So if we could wrap our heads around that, what we would be saying is in 2025, there'd be 1 million electric vehicles sold. In a best case scenario, according to Brown Consulting, 1.8 or 2 million electric vehicles sold. Secondly, infrastructure. All these people are not taking government money. And let me just kind of qualify that a little bit here. I think the reason why people are thinking it's going to cease is because the Inflation Reduction Act, National Vehicle Infrastructure Plan, the NEVI program, is providing federal funds for the building of electric vehicle charging stations along interstate corridors, and then in second round of funding, in more discretionary locations. However, Tesla, I think, has only received funds for one station, and they normally open about 10 per week. So, okay, one station a year is not funded. I don't think they care. They're bulking up with the V4 dispensers and the V4 cabinets. They're going big with Oasis charging stations. Federal government money is really not a factor with the crew at the Tesla Supercharger team. Similarly, the Mercedes-Benz high-powered charging network, there was a higher-up who was recently interviewed who confirmed by 2027 they'll have 2.5 thousand stalls under their management by 2027. So during the Trump administration, the Mercedes-Benz high-powered charging network will be expanding, and they're not going to need federal funds to do so. And IONNA, I don't think, even knows how to spell federal funds. They're going big, and there's no stopping what IONNA is going to be doing. Pilot Flying J also has received federal funds for implementation of stations, but it's a small percentage of the overall. I just did an update, and they have 104 stations open. I forgot to count prior to doing this video how many Pilot Flying J received federal funds. If I had to guess, 12, maybe? Something like that. And really what I'm finding is when federal funds are involved, it actually slows the process down for Pilot Flying J. They are building stations in partnership with General Motors in kind of a unique time in history. They see it, and they're taking the bull by the horns, and partnering up with General Motors is a win-win situation for both those two. General Motors gets stations at really nice locations. Pilot Flying J gets partial funding for the build-out of electric vehicle charging infrastructure throughout their properties, and so both parties win, and they don't need federal funds in order to complete this project. If they're there, cool, it's fun, and take the money by all means, but if it's not really going to affect them. At least that's the vibe I get from the Pilot Flying J team. EVgo received $1 billion from the Department of Energy in a secured loan guarantee. And I don't think that can be reversed. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think that could be reversed. And with that money, they're going to be building electric vehicle charging stations in municipal areas. EVgo and the GM partnership has just announced today that they completed their 2000th stall in their partnership to build out inside metropolitan areas electric vehicle charging stations. And they're proceeding with 400 more stalls at their what are known flagship locations throughout 2025. So we'll be seeing that. No stopping that. That's not coming from federal government funds, so nothing that Washington can say or do will stop that from occurring. BP Pulse and Shell Recharge combined have about $500 billion at their disposal in cash flow. And both of those are going very large with their electric vehicle charging station builds. And we could go into PlugShare right now and you could see construction crews turning dirt and building electric vehicle charging stations. Not a penny of federal money is being used. So perhaps the NEVI, and I don't really know how the federal government budget works, but I understand the NEVI funds have already been allocated, and I don't know if those could be reversed or not, but worst case scenario, the NEVI funds get reversed. None of these people care. They're still forging ahead. They are building, and funds or no funds from the federal government, this is all still occurring. In my opinion, the most significant thing that is going to affect electric vehicle adoption is not who is in the White House, but the prices of batteries. There was an article from Recurrent this past week, and you might have seen this picture indicating a precipitous fall in battery prices continuing, and by 2030, it'll cost less to have your battery replaced than to rebuild an engine. So in my opinion, that's the main driver of electric vehicle adoption. It's not whether or not there's tax credits, no tax credits, whether there's favorable federal policy or not. None of that really matters. The federal government doesn't determine if the American populace drinks Pepsi or Coke. So the free market system is what the country is based on, and the federal government defends that. They don't get involved in trying to sway consumer preferences. That's not what they do, and even if they try to, they're not very good at it. They're a very slow mechanism. they're good at building interstates over 40 years and things like that. They don't really have the ability to delve into the fickle nature of American consumerism. Anyway, that's my opinion. So, just to summarize, in 2025, we will see electric vehicle infrastructure continue to increase at a very heavy pace, and we'll see adjustments in electric vehicle purchasing adoption to some unknown extent. In a worst case scenario, it'll be, I don't know, a 15% drop. In a best case scenario, we'll sell 1.8 million electric vehicles in 2025. Thanks for watching.